Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be making a case for you to start implementing more Zercher squats into your weekly training. Now some of you are probably thinking of all the movements that I would ask you to do, why Zercher squats? Well, there's a couple reasons. One is because it lights up that posterior chain really nicely while also emphasizing quadriceps. Additionally, it is a different stimulus that most people are probably not getting into their training. Now that front carry movement really does force a lot, especially when it comes to the core and the hips. And that's been my anecdotal experience. However, that is fairly substantiated. And the quadricep focus is usually why people are implementing the front squat on deadlift days as an accessory squat. But I'm making the case that a Zercher squat might be more appropriate for some people, and that additional activation and that novel stimulus is a reason why. Now, does this mean that I'm going to be eliminating front squats from my training cycles? No, absolutely not. Front squats will still have an integral part because I do a lot of overhead movements that have that front rack position. However, I also think it's important to vary things, not only just for my boredom and ADHD, but also because your body will adapt to different things differently. So implementing something like a Zercher squat can have a lot of carryover. So there might be some of you that are wondering what a Zercher squat is. I'll do a quick demonstration. Basically, it is a goblet style squat. So you're going to hold the weight kind of in front of you, but rather than holding a kettlebell or a dumbbell out in front of you where you're limited by how much weight you can carry, you're going to put a barbell in the rack. And instead of putting it on your back or on your front rack, you're actually going to put it in the crease of your elbow and then keeping your arms up. You can put them together, out, whatever. You're going to perform that normal squat. Now you might be thinking to yourself, why would I do that? That's an incredibly uncomfortable movement. And I would agree that the Zercher is incredibly uncomfortable, especially when you do it with like this 28.5 millimeter power bar, or a 25 millimeter power bar is even worse if you're in the ladies barbell market. That's why I recommend using something like this. This is the Zercher Pad, really cool product. And this has basically been designed over the process of about a year to make the Zercher squat more accessible for more people. All you have to do to use it is just center it on the bar. And there's actually these injection molded little marks. So it actually helps line it up. So center that on the bar, push it on, and you're set. Now, this is a 28-inch long piece of foam. It has some antimicrobial properties to it. It is supple enough that it's comfortable to hold in the ditch of your elbows. However, not so supple that it is damaged by a barbell. I've been using the Zercher Pad for a couple of weeks now. I've been squatting almost every day with it just because I wanted to make sure I really liked it before I endorsed it on this video. And it's an absolute winner. And at $65, from AbMat, that's a huge deal as well. Not only is it 65, but you can save an additional 10% by using the link below. It'll apply coupon code KL10 at checkout, taking 10% off of your order. So that's an amazing deal. Be sure to check that out. But you can look at when you do a Zercher with the preacher pad installed, what it does is it just nicely molds to exactly where your hands would be. And then it just makes the movement all that much more comfortable. You might be at home thinking, oh, Curtis, this looks just like one of those pads that you put on a barbell to put on your back. And I would argue that although, yes, this is a 28-inch long, super comfortable pad that goes in the ditch of your elbows, I would argue that this actually has a much better place in your training because the ditch of your elbow is just such a sensitive spot versus the upper scapula portion of your back, which is not that sensitive and is actually designed to be kind of load-bearing in a lot of ways. Some other things that you can do with it, by the way, this isn't a part of this video, but you can do hip thrusts with this just fine. It works really nicely. Not only that, but it's so light and it's so small that it stores really nicely out of the way. Most of the time after I get done using it, I just leave it on the bar and I'll just either take it off if I'm doing a different movement or just that's my Zercher bar for the week. I've already touched on a little bit, but the way I recommend implementing these is on a deadlift day. I would recommend just starting there, doing a set of Zerchers instead of doing your sets of front squats. And again, the movement is very similar to that of a goblet squat. And what I really appreciate about it is throughout this last training cycle, I've really been trying to focus on my quadriceps. And this movement has been absolutely amazing for that because of how far forward the load is. So you're forced to maintain a very upright torso. Now, it still hits the posterior chain really nicely. However, it really forces you to maintain a lot of core activation because the whole time that you're squatting, it's trying to pull you forward. So it's important to make sure that you cue yourself to remain upright. Now there's a lot of ways to do this. You can either just get a nice tight core, or you can do what I do. I kind of flex my glutes at the beginning of the movement and maintain that throughout the entire range of motion. And for me, that's been absolutely ideal, maintaining that upright torso. The other nice part about doing Zerchers is that from the get-go, you're going to get a very good stimulus from a lower load and weight. Now, you can go up incredibly heavy on these. In fact, the record for the Zercher squat is something that I can't even do on a normal squat. Now, the Zercher pad can be used in your training in a lot more ways than just doing Zercher squats. I just wanted to make this video to give you the introduction. You can also do Zercher lunges, Zercher carries. You can do all sorts of different movements that use the Zercher pad that puts that load right here out in front of you. It's really going to activate your core. I'm telling you, it's very, very different. Additionally, if you use popular AI-based training software like Juggernaut AI or Evolve AI, the Zercher squat is already in the library. You can substitute it in. Again, where I'd look to do it is if you have a quadricep dominant style squat, I'd recommend just substituting in the Zercher squat and seeing how it works for you. But that's been it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching every week, and remember, when it comes to your training and of course your equipment, you should always keep it better, awesome, and badass. I'll see you next time.